Hello and welcome to this Montana game. As you can see, I am in a division with the Warlock, who is playing the Harugumo. The game is standard battle on Haven, and we spawn in the northwest of the map. Both me and Warlock spawn pretty much in the middle, so we can basically go either south or east. And we will actually split up with Warlock going south, and I will go with the northern forces towards the east. Both teams have 2 destroyers for capping and 2 destroyers that are not so much for capping, at least not in the early games. The enemy has 2 Havarosk and we have 2 Harugumos. We can also see that both teams have 2 radar ships.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
I take a first shot on an enemy Montana and decent enough start with 9k salvo. Trying to shoot at North Carolina. He does disappear just before I manage to shoot, and he slows down and my shots go way in front of him. Instead, I see Seattle that is being a bit too pushy, going straight for our cap, it seems. And as it turns out, I fire, but unfortunately I don't get any citadels, but still about 10k, which definitely hurts for him. Trying to find ships to shoot at. Then Miyamoto in the east is my next target, and I try to get all my guns before I shoot. Unfortunately, it takes a bit too long, so I have to shoot blind.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
Unfortunately, I only get 1 overpen. In the south, we can see that we have Ashima in J1, J2, and the 2 Harugumos a bit behind between the enemy and the rest of the ships we have there. In the north, we are all on the BC line. Kagero is slightly in front, and we also see the enemy gearing. I'm a bit occupied with shooting at the North Carolina, which showed a pretty nice broadside.
All stations reporting the position of a strategic target.
And I get a decent enough hit, even at range. The enemy is actually capping already, even though it's less than 5 minutes into the game. The Charles Martel is already running back, and I am turning around to help out. Turns out that it's Xian Yang, and I get my front turrets off and score a couple of overpens. He starts smoking up as I try to get around my rear turrets. I do, and this time I get a better hit, 1 pen and 2 overpens, throw a gun, and brings him down to only 64 HP, and he dies directly after. So the cap was saved. Tried to kill the Seattle, but he slows down, and once again my shots go wide. Right now we have a 2-ship lead, since Warlock managed to finish off the enemy cruiser in the south. But the fact that they've already tried to cap is not the best sign. And we lose our Republic in the north shortly after. Trying to shoot at Des Moines, waiting for him to make a turn. Unfortunately he doesn't, and I am a bit too close to him, and my shells land behind him. I once again see some North Carolinas showing broadside to me, and try to punish him. Unfortunately this time I don't really have RNG, and my shells land around him. All the ships that were in the north have now been turning back to base or towards south. The enemy does not have that big a force up here either. But we still need to prevent them from going towards the cap. The Mogami tries to push. And I get a good hit, almost 18k, but it's not enough. No citadels, unfortunately. Which means he will be able to survive. I hope that my guns will manage to reload before he goes behind the island. But unfortunately it's not meant to be. And even though I am perfectly aware that he will be sending torps, I do turn around here to focus on the Des Moines, and I hope that I will be able to avoid the torpedoes that I know will be coming. Meanwhile, both enemy teams are now down 3 ships, and we see the enemy gearing rushing towards Cap, where we have Warlock, the Haragumo, and also the Ibuki. Unfortunately, Mogami kills Warlock, and we also see the torps from the Mogami. I don't quite manage to avoid them, I eat 1, but luckily no flooding. Since the gearing was spotted here, I do expect him to be torping here as well, so I continue southwards to avoid those. Try to shoot at Abarovsk. He's going very slow, but he will be accelerating, and my shots will be missing. North Carolina again, as we see behind me some torps from the gearing. Get a good hit on North Carolina. but Habarovsk have been able to perform some HE damage on me while I was also on fire, so I am starting to lose HP. And I'm trying to get behind the island. The Bismarck and Ibuki are keeping the gearing out of the cap, but we are having issues defending. Now the second Habarovsk comes and joins his friend, and their combined HE spam is definitely not good for my HP. And I continue to run away as quickly as I can, while also trying to do some damage to them.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Unfortunately, I only score 1 pen on him. Enemy Yamato is showing a pretty good broadside, and I try to wait for all my guns to reload, so I can get a full salvo on him, but I do turn out a bit too much, so I have to spend some extra seconds getting my front turrets back on target.
Problem solved, sir.
An okay hit, but a bit too high, so only 10k. Well, we learned that Warlock had a phone call, so he couldn't really focus on the game. And that happens, so not much to do, but it's unfortunate for sure.
All stations.
Completely misses my shot on Yamato as our Ibuki goes down.
Attention. Reporting the target position.
We are contesting the enemy base, but they have several ships in the area that can prevent us from continuing that. Seeing how it looks, I'm already calling this a loss. I don't really see a way to get out from this. And as you can see here, the Bismarck is going down, which leaves me alone with two Habarovsk, a Gearing, a Yamato, a Mogami, and a Demoyen not too far away. So I am basically alone in trying to defend our base, while I hope that the ships we have in the south will be able to do something about the enemy base. Good or bad, we have two destroyers that are returning to base. At this point, I would have probably preferred if they tried to cap the enemy base. And the three ships that are remaining will have some issues. Especially since one of them is running the other way, away from the cap. Try to shoot at the Habarovsk again, or one of them. Once again, a bit short, and I'm not having much luck in hitting them. The base is being kept again, and this of course means it's the gearing. And I see the Lemoyne and try to protect our destroyers while I rush towards the cap. I get a pretty good hit and the Confederate award. Since it is a gearing in the cap, I expect there to be torps, so I try to fool him a bit. He is spotted by my plane and he is very low. I've already started to turn in for the torps, and as soon as I get my front guns aimed, I can kill him. And there are the torps, and I can turn around and avoid them quite easily. So now it's just 4 ships with a Des Moines in the far back to support them if we can. Right now it's the Mogami capping. He's being shot from the behind, so he's actually moving forward, which is very good for me because I am sailing to meet him as he does so. This time I don't make any mistakes and takes the last 9k of his HP. We have one Habarovsky in smoke just north of me, and we have the Yamato. I see the Des Moines, which is definitely a problem for the Harugumo. So right now my plan is to try and kill the Des Moines and move to try and ram Yamato unless I can get some shots off with my guns before that. Shoot the Des Moines and instantly try to turn my guns and a bit my ship as well. I killed the Des Moines, turning my guns, getting ready to ram in case I don't kill him. But I do. Get 4 citadels and he's dead. Also get the high caliber and 4 gold hull. Now here I make perhaps a bit of a mistake. I might have been able to use the Yamato a bit for cover. But I'm hoping I will be able to kill the Habarovsk before he torped me. I wait and I get a good hit, but it's not quite enough. And it is at this point that I notice that my secondaries are not firing, because as it turns out I had actually turned them off at an earlier test I did with the ship. And when I turn them on, my secondaries kill him, and I get my Kraken. Unfortunately, he has by then managed to send his torps and he kills me. So a bit of misplay from me there. I didn't notice that. We're now down to 2 ships. Shima in our base and the Baltimore that is trying to shoot Habarovsk running away. And hitting a fleeing Habarovsk in a Baltimore is not the easiest. And we only have 1 minute left on the clock, so it's looking like my earlier prediction about a loss was fairly accurate. And now we see the Baltimore is actually turning away, make it even more difficult to get him killed. Warlock is pointing out that the Charles Martel is low, but the Baltimore does not seem to be willing to risk his HP at this point for whatever reason. Which means that we will unfortunately lose this game, which is quite frustrating considering I somehow managed to defend the base against that many ships for that long. But not meant to be. The time runs out and we lose the game. And as for the result screen, defeat, unfortunately. But 4 goal hull, Confederate, close quarter combat, Kraken and high caliber. 191k damage, which is pretty okay, all things considered. I did get some frustrating misses, which easily could have brought it up to about 200, but my aim was not really there this game. Nevertheless, 5 kills, 6 citadels, 3 defend ravens. Even though that's not too many, I still defended the base in other ways. And as we also see, one secondary hit was enough to get the close quarter combat, which is pretty fun. 1800 base XP, about 700 more than the second best on our team. Warlock, even though he was distracted, ends up top half in our team. Had he not been distracted, he definitely would have been higher, and we probably would have won this because he could have helped me defend our cap and deal with the ships there. The enemy team, only one ship has actually better basic speed than I did, even though we lost, and that was the Des Moines that I killed, who managed to rack up 2.5k. $67k on the Yamato. Of course, those 4 citadels that killed him were a big help in that. Also got the Mogami, the Des Moines, the Habrowsk a bit late, but at least I got him. I also managed a whopping 102 damage on the gearing, but hey, a kill is a kill. Also some damage on North Carolinas and of course the Xianyang that I almost killed, but at least we prevented him from continuing to cap. Since we lost, not much XP, pretty good credit-wise, even with a loss. Not that it's necessarily needed, but nevertheless. So, unfortunately lost. Did my best in defending our base, and while I did manage, it also got me killed due to me potatoing a bit with the secondaries. So it's unfortunate, but still pretty good and entertaining game for me to play. So I hope you enjoyed that.